What is up, my viewers? Spang here, bringing you something I don't really do that often anymore. Bringing you one of my own games. So this is me in my IS-7. Yes, that is me, Spangles. I am part of Steel Viper's Venom. Messed that up a little, but oh well. And this is a tier 10 match, obviously, if I'm driving my IS-7. My team having a slight advantage with one more tier 9, but besides that, teams are fairly even, both in artillery and tanks. Though I do perceive my team to have a slight advantage having two IS-7s, perhaps giving a bit too much credit to the IS-7, maybe. Although I do have to say, I personally like the IS-7. Much more than any of my tier 10 heavy tanks. The T110E5 performs okay, and I actually hate my IS-4. But that's neither here nor there, and as you can tell, my team's sending a strong push to the south, while I'm deciding, hey, I should probably go help this Panther too, considering no one else decided to go north and protect that side of the field. Being an IS-7, I'm pretty confident in my ability to certainly take it to the enemy team and defend this northern section, should the enemy decide to push it. Now, I don't have any delusions that if the enemy decides to push it with like 2 or 3 tier 10s, that I'll be able to handle it on my own, but I can at least delay them long enough for artillery to lend me a hand. At least that is what I'm hoping. Whether or not that actually happens, you'll just have to wait and see. Now, this T-57 managing to get a free shot on that Panther 2, or at least I believe that is the T-57, though the damage looks much too low, so it probably wasn't him. But that Panther 2 really just being an idiot. Rushing out there, okay, that might be a bit harsh, but really just deciding to rush out there and get himself eliminated very rapidly early on in the match. Now, he is a tier 8 medium tank, not really a huge loss in a tier 10 match, but still, it's unfortunate when you lose a tank so early in the match. I mean, it hasn't even been the first 2 minutes, and me seeing that T-57 and only assuming more are on the way, I start to back up into a more defensible position here. Now, for those of you unaware, the 2 spots, yes, there's an IS-7. Like I said, I kind of assumed more was on the way. That IS-8, I have no idea what he's doing. Just blitzing out there into the wide open, and to get himself shot up by an IS-7, a T-57, and whatever ends up being on that hill. Now, I do get a free shot on the IS-7 right there. Thank you, Mr. IS-8, for at least letting me do that. But as you can tell, he's quickly getting overwhelmed due to his lack of forethought. Now, Yogg Panther 2 on the hill. I will get a free shot off at that. But as I was saying before, the weak spots on the IS-7 typically are its underplate and the forward hatch right on the center of the tank, though your chances are not too great of getting through that. You definitely want to aim at the underplate a bit more, which is why I'm backing up right here. As you can tell, there is a slight hill where I can just hide that nice little under part of my tank and really just have them shoot at nothing else but my turret right there. That is exactly what I'm talking about. The enemy team definitely having a strong defensive line south, if you have been paying attention to the minimap any bit whatsoever. And there we go, we see it again. So they certainly have the numbers to meet our push in the south, and then some. And artillery on our team, I'm not quite sure. There he is. I was looking for the third one. Apparently relocating to Echo 1. Confident in our team's ability to hold that southern flank, or at least get out of there in time should it fall. And I'm saying, artillery, I'm going to need your help north when they push. Again, that was my plan overall. Basically saying, I might not be able to handle 2 tier 10 tanks, especially an IS-7 and a T-57 coming at me. But I know I can at least delay them long enough for my artillery to take aim and fire. So I am confident in my ability. The enemy team not really pushing up in the north because they know that would expose them to artillery. The IS-7 does know I'm here. I mean, I took that shot off on him. The enemy team is aware that I am in this northern position, but they haven't really seen much else. And I think they make a decision later on here based on how many tanks they have seen in the south. Just that they think they can take the north. But you will see exactly how everything plays out. I'm sorry if it's a bit campy, but this is how you play World of Tanks to win. You assess your situation and you take up an appropriate posture. If you have numbers, you typically want to rush and flank and overwhelm an enemy position. If you don't, well then you typically want to sit back and bunker in and let them come to you. because it is definitely much harder to dislodge an enemy and take out an enemy who is well in a good position to defend. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. The IS-7 getting himself spotted here, gonna get shot up a bit before he gets to me. And my team down by 3 tanks already, a tier 10, a tier 9, and a tier 8. Very unfortunate, though that enemy IS-7 is getting the crap pounded out of him by, you know, what have you, things on the hill and possibly some artillery. Deciding to drive up and go for cover behind that rock, but he will soon learn I am right here waiting for him. Quite the unfortunate discovery for him. I back up here because no need letting him take shots at me unnecessarily. I pull forward just a little bit to take a shot at his underplate, but it is angled at too extreme of a, well, angle. Derp. Poor use of language. But the M12 will eliminate that IS-7, so exactly what I wanted to happen. Artillery supporting me in the north. A tank destroyer, either a Yog, it's got to be the Yog Tiger, pushing up along the Foxtrot 4 line. Well, it's not really a line, it's a block, but you understand what I mean. Our push in the south, definitely getting held up, but at least they're playing wisely, not just pushing forward against the wall of enemy tanks that is waiting for them. Now here, there is an E50. I'm trying to get a better shot at him. Trying to lead the target, though I can't quite see where he is, and right here, I'm not going to waste a shot. It's simply, I can tell that the chances of me hitting him at this distance with that little bit of his tank exposed are slim to none. I mean, I guess I should have taken it because you only miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And I have gotten better about taking the slightest shots I could possibly have. But at the same time here, I wanted to just wait for a more definitive, clear line of sight on the enemy that is pushing my position. So, and I was pretty confident in the STI's ability to hold off an E50 and a Yog Panther 2, especially with this T-62 Alpha coming into the fray to aid him. The Yog Panther 2 deciding he wants to GTFO, and I'll say, sorry buddy, but that's not going to happen. That E50 backing up as well, pretty much as quickly as he can, the T-62 Alpha going in for the ram, and he will get the kill, but not via ram, because apparently the E50 either managed to track him or slow down his forward momentum. Oh, and I am wrong, the STI getting the kill there. Here, I'm just kind of making sure my forward plate is protected by that little bump in the terrain. The team's evening out a bit more. We're only down by 2 tanks at this point. The enemy team still has a significant enough advantage to be concerned, but at this point, it's really anyone's game. I was definitely concerned early on when we lost 3 tanks and 2 of them pretty heavy hitters. That was certainly a problem in my eyes. Though, here again, we just even it up a little more, eliminating a tier 10 tank. Now we have an advantage in terms of what tanks we have, though we do not have an advantage in tank numbers. So it is still very much winnable by us, but still, I wouldn't count the enemy team out just yet. So, I can't see anything going on any point else on the map. I am too far removed from the front lines. Though we do manage to kill their T-110E5, them losing another tier 10 tank while we still have all 3 of ours. Looking very good for us at this point, evening the teams, certainly easing my mind quite a bit. And here, I decide to get a bit bold here. Yes, here and here. Key is to keep them lit for Artie, but stay behind the cover as much as you can. Trying to give a little friendly advice to my team, who apparently is blitzing forward on fronts where it might not be such a good idea to do so. But, you know, I'm just saying, kind of pointing out obvious stuff that people tend to forget from time to time. Here, I'm just poking my head out, seeing what's going on up here. Not really confident. I want to expose myself to the barrage of 2 tier 6 Arties and a tier 7 Artie. Not typically something you can survive even as a tier 10 heavy tank. But it is certainly something I'm about to do. We do have a 1 tank lead, and I'm feeling definitely more confident in our ability to win this match. We only have about, I'm asking if that JT is south, trying to figure out where his last known location was, because I don't want cross shots taken on me as I try and take on this T-57. The T-57, it's a new tank, for those of you who have not been playing recently, though not too new. it is one of the newest tanks with the exceptions of the Chinese tanks. These are still all 8.2 replays. Getting a solid hit on the T-57 Heavy. Though if you notice, it shows that it looks like a non-penetrating shot. I'm just putting that up to a glitch in the game. But if you look at his turret, it will look like I didn't get through. Just a simple ricochet. And there you go. You can see it. I don't know. Oh, it bounced off his turret into another part of his turret. I just saw that. That's quite odd. The T-57 taking some shots at me. That was an artillery round. And there goes the T-57 taking another shot. Me driving back and forth here, using this tactic of driving forward a bit, then stopping and reversing to try and throw off that enemy artillery. As you saw, it's working quite effectively. And not quite much there. I'm not exactly sure what hit me, but it hurt a good deal. So here I'm going to try and take on this T-57, who will cause me some problems here. There's one shot. I'm hoping I'm going to bounce more. There's a second shot. Trying to kill him in time. Artillery lending a helping hand. And there goes another shot from him. Almost taking me out. I am on my last legs. I need to bounce whatever comes my way at this point. Not get shot by artillery. Eliminating the T-57, thank God. And now my driver is hit and I have 4 HP. And artillery wants to kill me. So, oh, there's one artillery shot. And there's a second artillery shot knocking off my track. And I just hope and pray at this point that a third round does not come in and eliminate me. I am pretty confident that JT does not have a line of sight on me, but that is not my concern at this point. What is my concern is that artillery. So, me being alive with only 4 hit points left and thoroughly satisfied to my elimination of that T-57, I decide to sit back just for a little bit. Enemy artillery getting spotted in the south. I'm not quite sure exactly what that was. If I recall correctly, it might be the M12, because I very much doubt it's the S-51. It's not a very fast artillery by comparable standards. Nope, it's a 40-43, apparently. But, yeah, me perfectly content to just sit here. As you can tell, that T-57 shooting at that vulnerable underplate I was telling you about earlier. And the M12 managing to kill one of their artillery pieces. Me really not confident in pushing forward at all. And here I'm kind of looking at the minimap, saying, why doesn't that heavy tank on the center push? It is the STI, if you recall correctly. And I just didn't look over. He is pretty much hurting just as bad as I am. So I realized this a little bit later in the game. And so I don't fault him for it. I really don't. Anyone's match, I only have 4 HP left. Letting my team know my current situation. Communication can be very important. Just because an enemy team, just because your team sees that heavy tank up in the north, they don't know how much health you're at unless they're artillery and take the time to look, or they're close enough to just give a quick glance over your way. It's really important to let your team know what the condition is of your vehicle if you're in a key position. If you're about to die and they aren't aware of it, they think your side is perfectly fine, and next thing they know, you're dead and that flank is exposed. So, I'm just saying, communication kind of helped. The M12 eliminating that T-69, the Tier 8, what is that, a medium? I want to say it's a medium, but I'm not, well, of course, if I was paying any attention to the minimap and I had any sort of memory recall, I would have known that was a medium tank. And the Jagdtiger taking up a defensive position in the city. The one thing that made me move was my realization that we are running out of time. It is down to the last minute 40, and yeah, I am not a fan. I'm just sitting back and letting a match draw. I will throw my tank at the enemy no matter its condition. If the time is about to run out, I will make every last ditch effort to win a match. Draws are not something I'm typically comfortable with, especially if my team is in a position to win it. And at 13-9, we are. So this is getting very close. I only have 4 HP left, and it is basically up to my team, up to me in this T-54 to win it for my team. Artillery is going to help, but I'm not counting on it. And what I really should have done at this point is, though their premium rounds are not as high penetration as some of the, well, pretty much every other tier 10 tank, the IS-7s do have higher damage, higher penetration on their premium rounds. So I really should have switched to that AP composite. That's what it's called, right? Armor piercing composite, rigid. So APCR round right here to combat this Jagdtiger, and I'm just hoping and praying that I can spot him for artillery and I won't have to throw my tank at the meat grinder or metal grinder, whatever it is. Tanks aren't made of meat, although that would be an interesting concept. But no. And here, I take full advantage of my IS-7 speed, cruising down this hill at 50 to 60 kilometers per hour and saying, Yog Tiger, you need to die, down to the final 15 seconds. And here, this is where I am regretting not loading a premium shot, but he is so very kind to just blast away that barrier so I can get a solid shot on his main body, not as heavily armored as his turret. Well, it's not technically a turret, but you know what I mean, his gun mantle. And winning it in the last few seconds with only 4 HP, getting a total of 4 kills for myself. It doesn't get much closer than that. It really doesn't. Barely alive with a few seconds remaining on the clock and a single shot ready to fire to eliminate the enemy. Yeah, I would love to see something closer. And I'm sure there is, but it doesn't get much closer. And that is the point. But I hope this game has been interesting. If you liked it, click that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. And as always, if you got a replay, send it to spanglereplays@gmail.com. Email is in the description. In the next few days, this is part of the series of the flood of replays that will be coming this week and next as I try to get through the 8.2 replays. But anyway, this has been Spang, and I am signing off.